The United Nations General Assembly delivered a rare rebuke condemning the February coup by Myanmar's military junta and calling for an arms embargo on the country. In a stunning act of defiance, Myanmar's UN ambassador also condemned the coup. I sat down with Ambassador Kyaw Moe Tun to talk about Myanmar's uncertain future and if he thinks his country will ever return to a democracy again. I'm Frank Ucciardo, and this is TRT World One-on-One. Ambassador Kyaw Moe Tun, thank you for joining us here on TRT World.
Thank you so much for inviting me to this program. So, because I believe that through your news media, TRT, I hope that I can convey the messages of the people of Myanmar and then the messages of the National Unity Government to the international community. Thanks for giving me this opportunity.
On February 26th, you did something that stunned the entire diplomatic community, if not the world, when you sat in the seat in the General Assembly and you actually made a defiant speech against your own government at the time. You condemned the coup. Why did you do it?
The answer is very simple, because I don't like the military coup, because we don't want to go back to the system that we used to be in before. So that is the main reason that I delivered the statement. So that is the point that I like to stress. And then also because we see that in this modern world, everyone cannot accept this kind of military coup. So that is the point that I like to stress. And then also because we see that in this modern world, everyone cannot accept this kind of military coup. So that I waited for a time, the right time. So because I think that I should take that opportunity to have maximum impact on what happened on the ground. So I did deliver the statement.
Did you fear reprisal against yourself, your family? Apparently, the military junta said that you've committed high treason, and you're charged with that.
Before 26th of February, I thought of myself that they might, if they take the softest the action against me, they just recall me back to Myanmar. If not, they will dismiss me and they will charge me like high treason. So they did it as expected. So right after the delivering of the statement on 27th of February, they dismissed me from the service.
But apparently, the military junta sent a letter to the UN about you. What did it say? And you did the same thing. You sent a letter to the Secretary General in the General Assembly. What went on there?
Yeah, it's very clear that when they dismiss me, it's mean that I have to leave from the post, because as I mentioned in my letter, my statement, as well as in the letter, as I appointed by the elected civilian government, so that I make it sure that by informing to the BGA and the Secretary General that I remain the permanent representative of Myanmar to the United Nations. So because on that time, after they dismissed me, they also informed the BGA that they appointed my DPR as the charge affairs of the permanent mission of Myanmar.
But they can't do that because the UN doesn't recognize a coup.
Correct. So now, as far as I understand, the whatever the communication come from the military, the UN and do not take action, or they ignore all the communication, because they consider that the military coup is illegal.
How did it feel to see the entire UN General Assembly voting and issuing a statement condemning the coup, considering this is something that the Security Council failed to do? They issued a presidential statement, but didn't use the word condemn, and they were criticized for that.
It's true that, because in the Security Council, they came out with the full statement one is the presidential statement, and one is the two is the press statement, and then also the one is the press element. So this sort of the statement that they issue, but I thank them for the come up with the unified voice, but at the same time it's really far short of our expectation. But when we are waiting for the the decisive action from the Security Council, like the resolution from the Security Council, but until now we haven't got yet. So we try at the other platform in the General Assembly. So luckily, or happily, we got the resolution from the General Assembly condemning the military coup in Myanmar, and then also demand for the release of the Suu Kyi, our leaders, Suu Kyi, President U Win, and other unlawful detainees.
What is the strongest possible action that you want the Security Council to take? Because you have people on there like China and Russia who actually consider what happened in Myanmar an internal affair, not an affair for the UN to deal with.
I think that is no longer the internet affairs, because even you may hear from the voices of the people of Myanmar. We say that Myanmar issue is global issue. In the last week, on the time that I delivered the statement after the adoption of the resolution, it's almost 900 people being killed. So it's mean that in 100 days, it's 100% people, more people were killed in 100 days.
You're saying 900 people have been killed over the last 100 days?
So since the 26th of February until last week, almost 900 people being murdered by the military. So people, so that is why we pointed out that if the international community took the decisive action since then, we could have saved more than 800 civilians, 800 lives of innocent civilians. So that is the point that I like to make, because most of the people who killed are the young people, even as young as 7-year-old girl were murdered. So they are the future of Myanmar. So these interventions that we really need to save lives of innocent civilians. Also, another action that what we need is that the military, they use the war airplanes to attack the civilians. So the airstrikes, it's they did the airstrike and proportionately and indiscriminately. So that is very worrisome for us. So that is why even we requested the international community to look at the explore the ways to impose no-fly zone in the same areas in Myanmar. No fly zone. Yeah.
Would this also include sanctions that would prevent the military from operating, financial sanctions or arms embargoes?
Of course, the targeted sanction is what we see is very useful, and then also financial sanction is very important. But because what we see is that we need to have the some sort of sanction that stop financial inflow into the military. So the stopping the financial inflow to the military will help us to stop killing of the people, because they use those kind of money to buy the leather weapons to kill people. So that is why we need to stop financial inflow into the military.
What did you think when recently Russia rolled out basically the red carpet for an Air Force general from Myanmar that came to Moscow and sat and visited with them right after this happened? And in my mind, it seems like the Russians are going to continue to supply weapons that will kill civilians in Myanmar.
Yeah, that is what we worrisome. And so in the 4th of last Friday in my statement also I pointed out that I appeal the international community not to support the military directly or indirectly, intentionally or unintentionally. So also, I appeal the member state in particular who are exporting arms and ammunition to Myanmar should stop selling their arms to the military immediately. So it is very sad for us because we know that the military use this kind of weapons to kill people. So that is why what we can do is that we appeal all member states, especially the exporting of the weapons to Myanmar.
In 2017, there was a deadly crackdown on Rohingya Muslims in Myanmar, and thousands fled across the border into Bangladesh. Now, the military junta was saying, okay, we were chasing militants, and people that were dissidents and militants. But then, a year later, the UN said that they were committing war crimes. Investigators, let me quote you, said that the military carried out gang rapes and killings with genocidal intent. Has a genocide occurred in your country?
Yeah, I myself also visited the camps in Cox's Bazar. I feel so sorry for those who suffering this kind of situation. Those people who are encountering all the difficulties that they have. Not only when they ran from they ran for their life from the Rakhine State to the Cox's Bazar. So that is why we are very clear that we really concerned with the situation that they face. And then also, the ICOE, Independent Commission of Inquiry, also they make very clear that, during 2016-17, there were atrocity took place in Rakhine State. So we're so sorry for, who suffer from this kind of, serious human rights violations committed by the military. So that is why we always pointed out that, the common enemy of us is the military. We need to end the military rule in Myanmar. So that is why we appeal all the relevant stakeholders, all people in Myanmar, work together. Togetherness, we can end this military rule in Myanmar. With the end of the military rule and with the emergence of the federal democratic state, definitely we can further protect and promote the rights of our all minorities, to be and the religious, and the ethnic, and the all minorities. Rights of all minority can be protected, can be promoted.
Following that report, what went through your heart and mind when you saw State Councilor Aung San Suu Kyi testifying before the International Criminal Court defending the military, saying they didn't commit genocide? What did you think?
Aung San Suu Kyi is not really defending the military. She representing the country because in the nature of case at the ICJ, it is against the country, so that Aung San Suu Kyi representing the country and make it. She in her statement also at the ICJ, before the ICJ, it's very clear that all the perpetrators have to be accountable. So we like to make sure that the whoever commit this kind of serious violation, the Myanmar did is not in line with the Convention of Genocide. So that is the point that she made the argument at the ICJ. So it's she not really to me that she not really defending the military.
But the perception around the world was, here was a human rights icon for your country, standing up there and defending people who likely went out and committed mass murder. That shocked a lot of people. Do you think she should have lost her Nobel Prize because of this?
We all love her because we all believe in her. Because as a the human rights icon, as a human rights activist, the time that before 2016 and even 2012, So she is very, I should say, very vocal. But Daw Suu Kyi, when she came into the office, and the first thing that she made is with regard to the peace process and the issue in Rakhine State that we are facing. So that she personally requested that Dr. Kofi Annan and then the former Secretary General of the United Nations to help us. So that's sort of her desire to solve the problem, because this is the important issue for us, because the Rohingya who suffer from the atrocities, suffer from the serious human rights violations, so many years, so that we need to address it. So that is, what to me that she did the right thing.
But now Aung San Suu Kyi has been arrested. She's on trial for sedition, violating COVID-19 restrictions in your country. Doesn't look good for her. What is the status? And I understand she possibly could be jailed for 15 years if convicted.
So, the accusation against her, is quite, sorry to use the word, ridiculous. And then because you look at, not only this COVID, but also, the corruption, accusation. How could the military use this kind of accusations against the Daw San Suu Kyi? So it's very obvious that the accusation that made by the military is just for their political for their own political agenda.
But by then she had evidence from actually the UN saying that they had committed gang rapes and intentional genocide.
Thank you. So let me finish this point, because it's so I like to come to this one. Because we always pointed out that according to the international justice system, so because we usually need to exalt the domestic justice system first. So in that, ICJ issues, she chose the right approach for the country at that time.
Ambassador, as we speak, anti-army groups are multiplying in your country. And the UN Special Envoy to Myanmar said that a bloodbath is imminent. Do you believe a civil war is about to start there?
That is what we worry. Definitely none of us want to reach that stage. The lack of the action from the international community will make the situation worse, even if it go to the full-blown conflict in Myanmar. So I agree with that point, because that is why we keep saying in the international community to take action, to take decisive action against the military as quick as possible and as immediately as possible. That is the point that we made. So, but when it's come to the civil war, it definitely the people will have more casualty, definitely.
Ambassador, you were born in 1969, and at that time your country was under military rule. Now, you've been through this as a young man, and your people, the Burmese people, have been yearning for democracy for some time. Do you believe your country is destined for that? And why, as a young man, did you decide to jump into this fight?
You look at the 1988. At the time we were really in the one-party system. So we suffer. So after 1990s, because of the globalizations and the openness in the offline and online and offline, so people aware of what happening in the world. And then it's now look at the 2010 when we open up. We have the election in 2010, and we have the elected government. It's so-called quasi, civilian government. We had that kind of experience. In the 2015, we have the election. During that time, the NLD won the landslide victory, and we have the NLD-led government in 2016. So these all 10 years, we enjoy to some extent enjoying the freedom of assembly, freedom of expression, so that those young people, at least for example, if when they are age of 20s, the more than 10 years they enjoy this kind of basic rights, so that it's make them more serious about restoration of democracy in Myanmar. So that you look at the in the 2000 right after the military coup in 1st of February, they are the one who came out, who in the the front line, who participated in the demonstration. Even they risking their life. They know that under the military rule, we were lost all this kind of rights that we enjoyed before. So that is why they play a very important role. They are in the forefront against the military. So what we see is that it is very play a important role with regard to fighting against the military.
There was a hospital strike, right?
It's not really the hospital strike.
A lot of them walked out, right?
It's not really what I want to say. Hospital strike is not really that, because they provide the healthcare services to the people in need in the other places. So the healthcare services is not totally, stopped. There are the places that they have, because the reason that they make is that the instruction or order coming from the military, they defy it with them. So this message also give us to the other, even our diplomats ourselves. Some of us join this the disobedient civil disobedience movement. So what we see is that it is very play a important role with regard to fighting against the military.
Do you think the military junta will ever give up power, knowing that someday they might be prosecuted for war crimes?
Yeah, they should be. That is what we see. Whoever commit or committed this kind of serious violations of human rights, like crimes against humanity, this kind of atrocity, whoever committed, they have to be brought to the justice. So that is also in the in the mind of the people of Myanmar. The people of Myanmar are really looking forward and for those who committed this atrocity should be brought to the justice.
Do you ever believe you'll be able to go back to your country anytime soon? And this is a serious question.
Yeah, thank you so much. Of course, I say whoever live abroad, not only a citizen of Myanmar, we usually want to go back to our own country, the places that we born. So that sort of feeling that of course I have back up. And then from the positive, look at from the optimistic point of view, definitely in the very near future, I will have a chance to go back to Myanmar, even though I'm being charged with the high treason. But I hope that this military rule will end in the near future. It is very important that, again, not only the strength from within the country, but also the support from the international community. With this kind of support, with this kind of strength, we can end the military rule. We can end this military atrocity in Myanmar.
Ambassador, in closing, what was the signal that you sent out to the people of Burma when you gave your speech at the UN General Assembly? What was that hand signal? And what did it mean?
This, of course, is the symbol from the hunger strike, hunger game. So it's also during the demonstration in that time, also many demonstrators, many people, they use this symbol of three finger salute. So that to me that it is very meaningful, because we have three pillars. One, we fight against the military. One is the peaceful protesters who risking their own life on the streets, and then another one is people who join the civil disobedience movement. When I use the people, is civil disobedience movement is not only by the civil servants but also by the people ourselves. And then another one is the CRPH committee representing the Pidangsu Hluttaw, now the NUG. So these three pillars, together of these three pillars, definitely we will win our fight against the military.
Ambassador Kyaw Moe Tun, thank you for joining us here on TOT World.
Thank you.